Alright, so here we go again. Tonight we're doing shocks. This is a rear shock for my JKU back here, Jake. So they're Deutsch Tech shocks. Got a sticker around here somewhere. Deutsch Tech. They're from Iron Rock Off-Road in Minnesota. Got the proper boots for them. They're hydraulic shocks. Most shocks that you get aftermarket are nitrogen-filled shocks. So they will automatically just come springing out of the tube. These do not, they're hydraulic shocks. So what we're going to do is they come just like this with the rubber bushings installed in the eyes. So what I've got to do is hammer the sleeve into the bottom and then slide the adapter for the top of the shock through the eye on the top. So that's what we're going to do. Take the shocks off of the Jeep, which we'll do in a little bit, requires 18 millimeter. So I've got 18 millimeter wrench, I've got 18 millimeter half-inch drive socket. On the top, that's for the bottom. On the top, for the bolts, is 16 millimeter. So I've got a 16 millimeter with a long extension. For that, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's a one bolt on the bottom with a nut and a washer and a lock washer and two bolts on top. It's very simple to replace rear shocks in most vehicles. So there's no real easy way. I say that, and this is just going to slide in. You can use some grease, which I have right here from when I was doing the flex joints. You can put a little bit of grease inside to help the sleeve slide in. And with a proper size sleeve, it should just slide right in with a little bit of pressure. So we'll just use my big pliers, see if we can get it to slide in instead of me beating it up. Easy. Much better that way than adding a lot of stress and strain on the sleeve itself. Just put a little bit of grease, get a big pair of pliers, squeeze it in there, no problem. Same with the top, a little bit of grease on the inside of the bushing, and this should just slide right in. You can grease up this end as well, just to make it easier. You can always wipe it off later. I like to grease the inside of the bushing anyway, so that it's not tight and it kind of moves freely when the shock is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So this is really the only tried and true method. A little bit of grease and it's through. That's it. There, the sleeves are in, assembled. I'll put the shock boot on because a lot of people don't run shock boots, but I'm a fan. If you're going in a lot of water and you're going in a lot of mud, then this piston is going to eventually fail because you're going to get enough mud and grit on here is going to equate to wear and additional wear and tear that you really don't need to have on the shock if you just mounted a boot. Easy day. Still easy day. Alright. It's all down in the groove where it's supposed to be. Normally there's a groove at the top of the shock boot that fits into the flat disc on top, and then it comes with a handy dandy zip tie to hold the boot to the shock. Get it positioned right so you don't waste a zip tie. Crank it down. Hands are greasy, so there you go. Diagonal cutters. Cut it off. Don't cut the boot. Alright, so now we got shocks. I did one earlier, so now we got 2 rear shocks. Assembled, easy, piece of cake. That didn't take very long at all. Alright, next step, removing the old Terraflex 4-inch lift shock to put the Deutsch Tech 6-inch lift shock on. Be right back. Alright, race fans, Jeepers, we've built the shock, put the bar pin through, got the boot on, pin through the bottom of the bushing, and now we need to remove the old shock. So, as I told you earlier, we got a 16 millimeter on top. So as you can see it right up here. Right here and right here, there's 2 bolts, 16 millimeter. All right. And they're not on, they're relatively tight. They have to be. There's a torque, I'm sure you can look up and make sure, but you know what? I loosened these prior to this. So if you got a ratchet and a socket and a deep socket and a deep extension, that's what you're going to use to take that off. Well, I have air tools, so that's what I'm going to use. Makes things a little quicker, easier when you go the right direction. Piece of cake. So that's the top. Easy peasy. I mean, they were already loose. They were coming off anyway. Just 2 bolts. So, and again, the bottom is the 18 millimeter, which I have right here. So I'll just put the wrench on the one side since I've already loosened it. And that's it. Off. You don't want to listen to the air seeping out from my bad connection. So now it's just tapping the bolt out, pull the shock, or use the crowbar that I have handy right here since I planned ahead. And it will just fall out. That's it. There you go. 1 bolt with a nut on the bottom, 2 on the top. Easy peasy. So now, all we need to do is grab our new shock, put it up and in, I have the same trouble with the other side. He's a little bit longer, so they're gonna need a little bit more room to get in there. So a normal shock would just slide in just like that. Easy day. But of course, these shocks are a little bit bigger. So I'll punch that out a little bit. And that should drop right down into place. Slide that bolt through the hole. Line the hole up, I guess. Be a good idea. Tap it through. I said tap it through. Put your nut on the other side of it, just to hold it in place, so it doesn't pop out, because you got these two put in the top. So you want to rotate your bar so that's in the right direction. The screws, the bolts should go through the U of the bar, holding it into place. There is a bar pin replacement that is a lot more secure if you've had trouble with these, which I never have, so I've never even looked into that. They're not that expensive, 30-40 bucks for the, and what it does is it puts you don't have the bolts that I'm attaching right now actually go straight through a block and hold on a lot more secure. Yeah, I know, I've got air sitting right over there, but most of the time I don't use it because I never had air for years and years. So using a ratchet, old style, speeder handles and all that stuff is the way I've always went. Works just as good, just not as fast. A lot of people don't have air, so hey, I can bang around on my muffler just like everybody else will have to. That doesn't have air. Alright, so now I got them mostly tight, I can center that bar pin in between the two so it's as secure as possible. And that's two. Alright. That's easy, huh? Alright, grab my 18. Throw it on there. Tighten this bad boy up. How about we go ahead and just put it back on the gun. Run this one down with the air. I've worked enough. I know you guys like to listen to me bang around and all that. I'm happy for shit, but let's just do it this way. There you go. And what? That's it. Rear shocks replaced. Only one thing left to do. Clean that off. Gotta clean that off and put the final touch on. Gotta put a sticker on it. Otherwise, who's gonna know what shocks you got? Come on, everybody know. Oh, Jeepers know it's all about shock. Oh, well, stickers. All right. Now we're done. Peace out, guys. Rock on.